A lot of genealogy research is going out and discovering records about your ancestors. So if you're just going to the same couple of websites over and over, you're missing out on a lot of records pertaining to your ancestors. So today we're going to talk about 7 websites that you should put into your genealogy research rotation. And even better, all 7 of them are free. Let's start off with Internet Archive. You might already know Internet Archive as the home of the Wayback Machine, that really cool site where you can put in the URL of a website and find an old version of it, which is really handy when websites disappear from the internet. But Internet Archive also has a completely different section of their website where they have countless amounts of digitized materials. So what might you find on Internet Archive? Well, if it can be digitized, you might find it there. I have found yearbooks, city directories, county histories, family histories, all sorts of annual reports for government agencies, which are surprisingly good resources for your research. When you go into Internet Archive, sure, you want to put in your ancestor's name, but also think about topics, think about locations, organizations that your ancestor belonged to, churches that he or she attended. Don't focus on just the name. Broaden your searches a little bit. The second website on the list, the website of the State Archive, State Library, and State Historical Society for those states where your ancestor lived. I know that that's more than one website, but I'm grouping them together because in many states, these different functions overlap. For example, in a lot of states, the State Historical Society functions as the State Archive. So you're going to have to do a little bit of research to see what agencies exist in the states that you're interested in. At a minimum, the website for these organizations have online catalogs for their collections, which can help you track down where different record groups are. But more and more state libraries, state archives, and state historical societies are adding more digital materials to their websites. Photograph collections, digital copies of original records. Military records are especially popular to pop up on these websites, and even vital records. 2 absolutely outstanding websites are the Library of Virginia and the Wisconsin Historical Society. And if you go explore their websites, if you don't have ancestors there, you're going to wish that you did. Now, the third website that you want to add to your research routine is the website of the state and the local genealogy societies where your ancestors lived. They have that local or that regional expertise. They know where the records are. But sometimes we don't go to their websites because we aren't a member. You might be surprised what you will find on a lot of genealogy society websites, even if you aren't a member. For example, the Indiana Genealogical Society has a ton of records that are available to everyone, not just exclusively to members. But even if that genealogy society doesn't have a lot of records for non-members to look at, they almost always have some sort of research guide to help you along with your research. It might be a listing of historic churches, locations of cemeteries, information on where different records are held. So even if you aren't a member of a genealogy society, go check out their websites. Number 4 on our list is the Digital Public Library of America, or DPLA. DPLA is an organization comprised of thousands of libraries, archives, and museums across the United States. And the DPLA website acts as kind of like a portal into their digital holdings. As of the time of this recording, DPLA has links to more than 44 million digital items. And when I say digital items, those could be digital images, text files, audio, or video files. You can find things like digitized photographs, family Bibles, yearbooks, maps, original records. It is astounding what you can find on DPLA. Now, just like with Internet Archive, sure, you can do a search for your ancestor's name, but also think more broadly. think by subject. Where did your ancestor live? What church did he or she attend? What schools did they go to? What fraternal organizations did they belong to? Thinking about it by subject, that's really going to help you find some really great treasures. Number 5 on our list is such a cool site, and it's called Linkpendium. As the name implies, it is all about genealogy links. Linkpendium was developed and is maintained by Brian and Karen Leverage. They were the founders and creators of RootsWeb, which was one of the earliest genealogy websites. Linkpendium is a curated list of more than 10 million genealogy and historical websites across the United States and the UK, as well as family and surname websites. There are 2 parts to Linkpendium. One part is a search engine of those 10 million websites that I just mentioned. It's almost like Google specifically for genealogy. You can do a search for your ancestor's name and it will search across those 10 million websites. Another way that you can use Linkpendium is to browse it by location, and I love to use Linkpendium this way. There are sections for individual states, and then broken down by counties, and then once you get into a county, then it's broken down by category. I have found so many hidden gems of websites this way. Speaking of finding hidden gems, that brings us up to website number 6, and that is WorldCat. WorldCat is short for World Catalog, and that's exactly what it does. WorldCat is put together by OCLC, which is a consortium of libraries from around the world. And WorldCat acts as a way to search the catalogs of those OCLC member libraries. You might be thinking, why would I want to look at a bunch of library catalogs? Well, think about a lot of the materials that we use in our genealogy. We're not using a lot of New York Times bestsellers here. The really good stuff for our family history are things that are either one of a kind or there are just a few of them. And these materials don't always end up in libraries where you would think to look. Sure, your family might have lived their entire lives in Perry County, Ohio, but if the family Bible ended up with that one branch of the family that went out to Colorado, you might not think to look in that library or that archive out in Colorado for your family Bible. Using something like WorldCat can help us track down some of these items. The key to success with WorldCat, like we've seen with other websites that we've talked about today, is to think about subjects. So again, thinking about the location where your ancestors lived, thinking about their churches, thinking about their fraternal organizations, even things like their occupation or their ethnicity. Now, before we get into website number 7, if this video has given you any ideas of more places to look for your genealogy, why don't you go ahead and hit that like button? I sure would appreciate it. Thanks. All right, we are up to website number 7, and that is the FamilySearch Research Wiki. A lot of people have FamilySearch as one of their go-to websites, but not everybody knows about this special section of FamilySearch, and that is the Research Wiki. It is literally the first place that I go when my research takes me to a new location or takes me into a topic that I'm not very familiar with. When my research takes me into a new state or even a new county, I know that I can go into the FamilySearch Research Wiki and discover when major records started being kept there. I can discover when that county was formed and what counties it was formed from. I can find links to all sorts of relevant websites and collections. Not doing research in the US? No problem. The FamilySearch Research Wiki has pages for locations around the world. And it isn't just locations, it's also topics. Need to brush up on using the Dawes rolls? Check out the wiki. Need a Latin genealogical word list? Check out the wiki. Literally, no matter where your research takes you or what topics you're having to cover, check out the FamilySearch Research Wiki. Something else to check out in your genealogy is one of the videos popping up on your screen right now. Happy researching!